Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2463. Today we're celebrating the Motorcar Cavalcade Concours d'Elegance. It takes place on February 4th at the prestigious JW Marriott Turnberry Resort and Spa in Aventura, Miami, Florida. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Dania Beach, Florida, beautiful place to be, to talk with somebody about an upcoming event that you've got to attend by the name of Jason Wenig. Jason, welcome back to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Thank you, Mark. Absolute pleasure to be back with you again.
We're going to have some fun today. Now, Jason's being very kind because he's got this little event coming up that has got alligators, well, we are in Florida, all around him trying to take him under, but no doubt he's going to succeed. And before we talk about this event, I always like to ask this question. Tell us one little thing about you that maybe people don't know, Jason.
Well, since we're talking about the event, it's important to know that I really never had aspirations to take on a challenge like this, but it was because of some remarkable people that twisted my arm. So here I am, a classic car restorer, running a Concours d'Elegance event, and that's just a bizarre twist of fate, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I'm gonna ask you about that in a little more detail later in our talk today. But yeah, they must have really twisted your arm, or you didn't have any idea what you were getting yourself in for. But either way, I'm glad they did it because look where you've ended up. So let me introduce you here. Jason Wenig is the founder and owner of the Creative Workshop, one of the top restorers of classic cars and builders of coach-built specials. His business is known for and is regularly entrusted with rare, exotic, and prototype vehicles. But as he said, he's also the executive director of the Motorcar Cavalcade Concours d'Elegance. It takes place on February 4th at the prestigious JW Marriott Turnberry Resort and Spa there in Miami, Florida. This event features their Miami Speed and Style Rally and a world-class Concours d'Elegance. The cars are the stars, but the entrants, the judges, the guests, and the media share the spotlight in a very chic garden center setting that includes fashion, style, cuisine, camaraderie, and of course, the cars. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors, so give them a little listen, and we'll be right back. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? Then let me introduce you to Capitalize Your Finances. It's an online course designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools for mastering your money. This course will help you lay out the ins and outs of budgeting, the importance of emergency funds, investing strategies, and how to plan for a secure retirement. All this presented by financial planner Chris Paniotu. Chris has developed this course to help you effectively navigate your world of finance with confidence. Stop stressing about money and start taking control. Enroll in Capitalize Your Finance online course today and pave your way to financial success. To learn more, go to capitalizepodcast.com/courses, or better yet, go to the Cars Yeah website, show notes page for today's show, and click on the link under Capitalize Your Finances. You'll be glad you did. Do it today. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. Hey, guess what? Some of you regular listeners will remember back in 2019, I created 10, 11 shows called Cars Yeah TV, where I went to some fabulous locations of past Cars Yeah guests, and we did a TV show about it. Well, they're up on the Cars Yeah YouTube channel. So go check it out at YouTube. Just type in Cars Yeah, and the shows will be there for you to enjoy. I hope you have fun watching. So, Jason, we're back now. Regular listeners will remember Jason was a guest on the show back in 2020. His was show number 1582. So if you want to learn a lot more about the Creative Workshop, you can go back and re-listen to that show. However, before we talk about the Motorcar Cavalcade, I'd love for you to touch on the Creative Workshop because you've built quite a business. And I'd love for listeners that are new to your name, learn a little bit more about what you do there. So give us a little tour.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. Again, pleasure to be back with you. And yes, our first conversation about Creative Workshop was a pleasure because that really is my core business. For over 20 years, I think we're 22 right now, we've been on the front lines of restoring forensically some of the rarest cars out there. Pleasure and honor to have been invited to and have won awards at Pebble Beach, Villa d'Este, Como, of course, Amelia Island. And pretty much, it's incredible at this point in my career, nearly every single major concours in the world, Hampton Court, Chantilly Palace, and on and on and on and on.
Bravo.
And so it's really exciting.
That's an incredible lineup. I mean, do you ever stop and just pinch yourself and go, how did I get here? A lot of hard work, right?
I really am at that point where I feel that, and I feel that regularly. Running a business is difficult, but when I think back over the accomplishments and the beauty and the love affair of the automobile that we all have here and some of the cars we've done, the clients we've met, the places we've gone to with these cars, it really is a bit of a pinch me moment, and it's wonderful to look back on it now.
Well, congratulations. It's just amazing. It is not an easy business, and running a concours, it's not that easy either, as you found out. But I want to start with how you got arm twisted into this. Who are your friends? Maybe you need to pick them more wisely.
Be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because it does tie in, of course, with Creative Workshop. And fundamentally, for 20 years, we've been building cars with clients and matching clients and their car's personality to the event that we submit a car to. And after 20 years and literally hundreds of concours you go to, you pick up on certain things. You hear what clients say. You go to these events. You see how they change. You see what other people say. And me, the way I engage in this community, in this car world, is I took notes. I didn't have any thoughts of what I was going to do with those notes, but I just took notes mostly to be sure that I can guide my next client and their cars to the best events possible, matching the right personality to the right event. Long story short, 3 years ago, plus or minus, a friend of mine who runs events down here in South Florida, Floyd Ragg, a great guy. He's an ex-Miami Dolphin football player, beloved by all, and he's the Pied Piper of supercars. He raises his hand and literally 300, 400 supercars, Bugattis, McLarens, Ferraris come out of the woodworks and converge on wherever he might be standing for these incredible, which much more sophisticated than that now, but cars and coffee-like events. But Floyd didn't know much about the concours world, the traditional classic car world. Floyd's affiliation is with the Warren Henry Auto Group, a very large dealership group down here in Florida that runs everything from Range Rover to Koenigsegg to Bugatti, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The proprietor, the patriarch of the entire group is Warren Zinn. He's the owner and founder of the company. And they called me out of the blue to their office. I get a call. Hey, Floyd, how you doing? Jason, can you come down to the corporate office of the dealership? I want to introduce you to Warren. Sure, Floyd, no problem. And that's how this all began.
Wow.
The conversation simply, and I can go into that if you'd like very quickly, is Warren is a wonderful person, and he literally cut his teeth in the dealership world. His father started a small used car dealership in South Florida, and it has grown now to a very, very large entity under Warren's control. Warren is getting on in his years and wanted to give back. He loved going to Pebble. He loves the classic cars, and he wanted to show the community how much he appreciates the car family. And that's what he said to me. And he ultimately, and then in conclusion, he said, Jason, I understand you know something about this. What would you do about it? And that's when all those notes came to play, and that's how this whole thing began.
You should have done the Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. Nothing?
Hogan's Heroes, right?
Yeah, there you go. We're of somewhat, you're younger than me, but you got it. You got it. Well, it's hard to say no to somebody like that. And I'm glad that you didn't say no and you took this on. And I want to start with the venue because so much of the success of a concours event, like many and all the ones you've been to, the many I've been to, is the environment. And I want to talk a little bit about JW Marriott Turnberry Resort and Spa, because this is quite a special place. And I understand it's in Miami, but it's in the Aventura area of Miami. Is that right?
Correct. It's factually zip code in Aventura, but it's right on the border of North Miami. And when you start to get down to that area, it kind of blends. So with absolutely zero disrespect to Aventura and the city council and the mayor, who have all been fantastic to us, so that people can immediately reference in the world where it is, we do use Miami, and the Miami Turnberry is the name of the hotel. But when we look at the actual address, it is Aventura. And in lots of our communications, we blend the two to make sure that Aventura gets their moments, and for people who are not local, who might not know what Aventura is, we use Miami so that it's more linear in terms of people knowing where in the world we're going to end up.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of you think about Monterey, encased in that Monterey area, peninsulas, Pebble Beach, Carmel by the Sea, Seaside, all those kind of things. But the area that this resort is in is top notch, right?
It is gorgeous. The resort is a Condé Nast Traveler privileged destination, like 10 years running. It is massive. There are palm trees everywhere. There are multiple pools, multiple golf courses, multiple restaurants. It is the type of place where when you, and it's apropos given the time of year, and again, as an ex-New Yorker, I have lived through all this stuff, but when the weather is really, really dicey out there, when it's really pushing people to the limits, this is where you want to come. And when you were where you want to go to the JW Marriott. It's a beautiful place with the spa, beautiful location in terms of what you're visualizing. And to your question before, the timing at this hotel is right perfect for when all of the New Yorkers, all the Northerners, myself included, as my background, have just about had enough. And you get yourself on a plane, and it is time to thaw out, and we can deliver on thawing out in spades.
Well, thaw-outs is what we need. This has been exceptionally cold, even for where I live here in the Pacific Northwest, and we're actually supposed to get a little snow tomorrow, which is very, very rare for us. Won't be a lot, but yeah, things have been frozen over. The bird baths are frozen over. I saw a little bird out there ice skating this morning, so it's a little chilly. So yeah, Aventura, Miami sounds like a really nice place to be right now. Now, we'll talk about the Concours in a minute. We'll talk about the cars, talk about the people. But one of the things you do is the Miami Speed and Style Rally. And when I go to your website, you've got some great video of a long lineup of fantastic cars going over one of the overpasses with the mini waterways. I just want to be there. So what is this Speed and Style Rally all about?
So it's a special extra added on to the event as we build out the event to a multi-day happening. The Saturday before the Concours, so the Concours Sunday the 4th, in this instance it's Saturday, February 3rd. Select entrants get asked to participate in the rally. They submit their desire, and then we go through. But there's only a limited number that we can put on the rally, and it's really fun. It's we stage for a bit of a cars and coffee in the morning at the host hotel, and then we get a police escort over. This year we're going to the Formula One Hard Rock Stadium, the Formula One racetrack, and the gang from Formula One will greet us, and we will be taking pictures on the starting grid and in the pit lane, and get tours of the paddocks, and then have a wonderful brunch at the Paddock Club, their VIP club overlooking the starting grid for that. Again, I don't even talk about what the ticket prices are to get an actual ticket during Formula One. So we're getting some privileged behind the scenes, casual, totally for us, picture ops and tours and interactions with Formula One. One of the newer tracks here in America for Formula One. It's very exciting.
Very exciting for sure. So the Concours, let's talk a little bit about the Concours, because one of the ways you describe Motorcar Cavalcade is celebrating the art and evolution of the motor car. So talk to us about the types of cars we'll see, how many vehicles, class categories, and what fun we're going to have.
One of the challenges we had, going back to the Warren Zinn conversation, was because they are a modern car dealership, yet a Concours traditionally really is about classic cars, I was challenged with the need to deliver on a Concours that can honor both cars. Not only modern cars, but all the way back to the dawn of motoring. Now, if we know this anything about the car community, the modern car people tend to not affiliate so well with the classic car people, and the classic car people tend to not affiliate with the modern car people. And so I took this challenge very seriously. What are the parameters by which we can define this Concours so that we all get along? We go up high enough into the altitude that we stop being this year or that year, or even that mark or this mark, but just have a true appreciation of love of the automobile that we all have collectively. And so the art and the evolution of the automobile is something that we came up with to help immediately define what we're trying to accomplish. And that is through the entrance and the submissions and the curation of what we put on the field, what people will see is not only this incredible diverse cross-section of vehicles, but connectivity. And how we do that is through our classes and special displays. We have special displays where we might have 5 or 6 or 7 cars that are in direct lineage with each other. The evolution of Jaguar Jaguar, or the evolution of Mercedes SL, or the evolution of even the Ford Mustang from 64 all the way up to the brand new ones that are coming out right now. By the way, one of our judges is Martin Masakowski, who's a designer of the new Ford, the new Ford Mustang.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
But in other instances in our classes, which is really interesting, our classes are unique to the Concours world, literally to the entire Concours world. So one of our classes might be doors, or lights, or side view mirrors, or aero packages, things that like are bolted onto cars to create, downforces and whatnot. And what you start to realize when you do these things is that, believe it or not, all cars have headlights. All cars have doors. But when you put a 1905 car with acetylene lamps flickering next to a 2024 Bugatti with xenon LED refractors,
Yeah.
It's startling. It's shocking because they're both lights. They were both used to project light in front of the car. But when you've got a 1905 and a 1920 and a 1960 and a 1990 and then a 2024, and you're comparing the lights of these remarkable vehicles and how engineers and designers overcame the challenges of not only projecting light forward, but not blinding the people in front of us, let alone the
Right.
DMV rules, the NHTSA rules of what you can and can't do with lights. The art and the evolution of the automobile start to present itself. We do that with 200 plus cars amongst 16 classes, amongst 3 or 4 special display classes, which we call evolution classes. And all told, when you walk through there, whether you are a car aficionado or a spectator that's there just to have a great time out in the Florida sun, it's almost emotional when you see the colors and the styles and the shapes that are so dramatically different, yet are all under one roof, the automobile. And that's what we're trying to shock and awe, what we're trying to accomplish when people walk onto that show field.
Well, the neat thing about this too, and we talk about this all the time on Cars Yeah, is getting younger people involved in the automotive world. And to have a young person see that evolution is pretty spectacular, much less for guys like you and me or women, people that really love the automobile. But for a young person to go, you mean people drove that back in the day? And look at how it's come. Maybe I should get into this field. This looks very interesting to me. I think that's another neat piece of what you're doing.
I think you nailed it. And by allowing 1980s cars on there, JDM right-hand drive Japanese cars, 1990 cars,
Yep.
the cars that these kids grew up with, we're connecting with them and then showing to the left and to the right of that car that they have a direct relationship with what came before and what came after. Another car that they might have never looked at before. There's one other really important point to that as well. I personally believe, and again, I'm saying this from quite a bit of experience from clients and Concours car shows, that women have been let out of this occasion. Far too often, the men are so involved in the judging and the points and the classes that the gals are left kind of out. Maybe they like going to a glamorous location like Pebble Beach, but in other locations, they kind of feel like maybe the third wheel, so to speak, or the fifth wheel.
Sitting on the sidelines going, when can we leave, dear?
Or I'm not going to even talk to my husband unless if he wins an award because he's going to be in a bad mood. That's not how we want to appreciate cars, right?
You're right.
So by dropping the barriers of that and allowing people to walk in with no pretense and just see this incredible cavalcade of cars, sorry for that kind of a plug, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to know a damn thing about cars. You don't have to know anything about whether the serial numbers match. You don't have to know what the history of that car is proud or not. All you have to do is react. And so not only are we connecting with younger people because we have cars in the field that they can associate with, but we're also connecting in a very strong way with women where this is a venue where they feel more comfortable, but they don't have to be technical. Not saying we don't have incredibly technically minded women who know their cars, but we're talking broad strokes here, and it is all part of the fabric of what makes this event very special and unique.
Oh, very cool. I love it. Well, that's a nice move, or segue, I should say, into people, because people are really what these car events are all about. It brings us all together, people that you haven't seen in a long time. Do you have some celebrities that'll be a part of this? You mentioned one, the designer of the new Mustang.
Yes, indeed. So The people in the judging are two different things. And they're both it's a great common area to talk about. The people in general. So, yes, there are ticket holders, and yes, there are people that are invited, and yes, there are always affiliates with sponsors and whatnot. But the venue is designed, as I mentioned before, to lower barriers, lower boundaries, and to let people relax. We really call it a garden party. And just like if you were invited to an art gallery, you might not be an art collector, you might not even know who the artist is. But if it's a grand happening and you know it's something of beauty, we're compelled to go, to broaden our horizons and whatnot. So that's the way we format this event so that the quote-unquote the people, the spectators, feel welcome, feel empowered, and can enjoy the day without knowing anything about cars other than the fact that they're surrounded by beauty. Now, on the flip side of that are the judges. So we deliberately bring in two different kinds of judges. We've got docent judges, which are extremely experienced, very well-known Concours judges, guys of the likes of Ken Gross and Dr. Paul Sable and Mark Moskowitz and Russell Glaze. These guys are on the board of every single major Concours in the country, including Pebble Beach. They help guide and control to make sure that the process, we do take our awards seriously, the process goes smoothly. But the fun part comes from the VIP celeb judges. There are people who know about cars. There are race car drivers in there, but the vast majority are not car people by design. Artists, photographers, producers, military, CEOs. The first thing they ask me, professors, teachers, musicians, I don't know anything about cars. My response is perfect.
Do you know what you like?
We don't want anyone to come in and say, well, I love modern, I love classic. We want reactions. And so when we've got Alonzo Mourning from Miami Heat, when we've got Desmond Howard, the football player, the commentator for ESPN College Sundays, we've got Peter Lenkov, producer for LA producer for TV shows, and then of course Tommy Kendall and Lynn St. James, Hall of Fame race car drivers, Cindy Sisson, director of Women in Motorsports, and then we've got several designers from GM and from Ford, Wayne Cady, and I mentioned Martin Mosikowski, others. Probably the most famous fashion model in the entire world, Tyson Beckford, is one of our judges. Paul Boutros, who runs Phillips Watch Division, is probably the most famous vintage watch guy on the planet Earth. Decorated Navy SEAL is one of my guys this year, and on and on and on and on. And so 45 VIP judges, 8 docent judges, a remarkable mix. We have a professor from the University of Miami who teaches sound design, Jesse James, who is he's the guy behind the sound that you hear when you play video car games. Gran Turismo, he's the sound designer.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And so on and on, all told, a remarkable mix of people with and without car backgrounds experiencing the palette of automobiles for the first time together.
Well, like I said, it's all about the people, and you definitely have them. So what a lineup. It's very cool. I like to ask about special vehicles, but since you were on the show before, I'm going to have you talk about maybe just one. It's hard to do, like picking your favorite kid. One special vehicle that's going to be at your event this year.
Well, so again, because we have a broad spectrum of vehicles, I'm not going to go on and on, but there's 200 of them, right? But we do.
No, that's why I say I'm going to force you to pick just one.
Classic, we have a Marmon 16 coming. Modern, we've got a McLaren Elva. In between, we've got several Group B rally race cars coming, and all sorts of spectrum of cars in between. Ferrari LaFerrari, Lamborghini Centenario, my goodness. The Cord from the ACD Museum, the Cord Moonshine, which the color of the car dictates the name because it shimmers like the full moon in the middle of the night. My goodness. Auburn Speedster from the Cord Museum. It goes on. It goes on and on. So a real, true, proper, broad spectrum of cars. And what I also love, sorry to kind of ramble on about this, but this is the fun part, right? A lot of the cars, like when you first see them on paper, you're like, oh, that's a Concours car? That's not really a Concours car. It might not be a quote-unquote Concours car, but it is a car that from a nostalgia, a history perspective, tugs. So there are cars that fit into our evolution that would never make it to a Concours field. But because of the nature of our event, we're highlighting them from an art perspective, from a history perspective, from a society perspective. Oh my goodness, I remember that car. That was the car that broke out. That was the car that put that particular mark on the map. And so you really are walking down memory lane and being confronted with our culture as it relates to the automobile when you walk on that field.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Bring your camera. It's
Indeed.
going to be fun. Lots to see. Is there a philanthropic side to your event?
We support the American Cancer Society. We do a silent auction, and a proceed of certain of things that we do go to them. The Warren Henry Auto Group has a strong relationship with them. So there's a lot of money that flows to ACD, and there's a lot of notoriety and a lot of brand acknowledgement that we co-do with ACD. We co-market with ACD.
Nice. Very good. Now, since I last had you on the show, we love books here. Is there a book you've read in the last few years that you'd love to share?
Right now, unfortunately not. It's been a busy time.
No time.
When I'm done, you'll find me on a beach reading a book, and I'll email you and let you know what I'm catching up on.
Well, maybe I'll join you. That sounds like a nice place to be, especially right now where it's so cold outside. So here's a tricky question too. As hard as picking a car, I'm an enabler, so I'm going to let you take any car that's going to appear at your event this year and take it on the rally. Now, you may already be participating, so we'll remove what you're going to be driving. But if you could take any car from anybody, and I can make that possible, just for today, is there one in particular you'd love to jump into?
So, at risk of a complete letdown, because I have my penchant for vehicles. Jason, I'm a truck guy, and specifically, I'm a Land Rover guy. And so, when I have the pick of all of these incredible cars, right? We have Bugatti quad turbocharged. We've got 1,000 horsepower. We've got 18 horsepower. We have Hennessy unveiling cars at our event. We have 1,800 horsepower street legal track vehicles. Okay, and so yes, I could easily say I want the Hennessy 1,800 horsepower because I want to see what happens when tires melt in the middle of the day, right?
Oh, geez.
But me, I'm putting myself in one of our Series 3 Land Rovers that are at the event, and I am having a lovely time channeling my inner camel trophy as I drive down the rally in my truck, which is where I'm always most happy, in a truck.
Well, see, this is what I love about you, Jason. You know, instead of going for the crazy, you go for what you love, what you're passionate about. That's what cars are all about. Right?
I bleed Land Rover, and I got 4 of them right now, and I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon. So
Nope, you're connected. Yeah, mainlining Land Rover. So that's okay, my friend. Awesome, fun vehicles. Well, you've taken us on a really fun ride today, and this event just sounds, again, spectacular. I cannot wait. Is there maybe some parting words of wisdom or advice you might offer our listeners so that it gets them all lathered up to jump on a plane if they're far away, or get in their car and join you and all these wonderful people at the Motorcar Cavalcade?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark, and I appreciate that. I'll say this. The Concours field, nationally, maybe even internationally, has become extremely busy. And there are events everywhere, and many are prestigious, many of them are fun. I personally feel that we have created a really remarkable, unique event here that's different. And so if you feel that you're burnt out from going to all these Concours events, please consider this a fresh perspective on the Concours field. Not only is the weather lovely, especially during the winter, but our expose of vehicles from dawn to now, dawn of motoring to the most recent cars, with everything in between set up the way we have, really does allow us as car people to appreciate the automobile from a different perspective. And I can only hope that you can join us so that you can see that through our eyes as well. And so I welcome everybody to please come on down and spend the day with us. Bring a picnic blanket and, feast, fet, and flaunt, like we say at Motorcar Cavalcade.
Jeez, go down for a week. You're going to need it as cold as things are this winter. So you can find everything Jason has shared on their website, motorcarcavalcade.com. They also have a wonderful Instagram page, easy to find. I would encourage you to check it all out. Also, check out his business, The Creative Workshop. Links to that, thecreativeworkshop.com. You can see the wonderful builds they do, the kind of work that they have. Absolutely spectacular. Jason, I really appreciate you taking a break from all your craziness to talk with us today. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you at the Motorcar Cavalcade.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you.
Absolutely. If you're listening to this program, there's a pretty good chance you believe what I believe, that the collector vehicles we love are more than just a means of getting from one place to the other. They're a part of our culture, our identity, and as a people, they bring us together at vintage races, classic car auctions, and 1,000-mile rallies. That's why I support the RPM Foundation, which exists to ensure that the critical skills necessary to preserve and restore these important vehicles aren't lost to time. RPM stands for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship, and their goal is to inspire the next generation of vehicle restoration professionals through its outreach programs. And they include Shop Hop, Off to the Races, the RPM Future Class, and many others. These programs engage talented young people across the country and connect them with mentors and a variety of opportunities in the industry. For more information on how the RPM Foundation is driving the future of collector vehicles skill trade, visit rpm.foundation today.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.